Good morning, everyone. We are here for the Idea Lab Growth Intentions Personal and Professional Development Call on Friday, September 30th. Good morning, Lisa. It is officially the end of summer here in New Jersey. We are cold and chilly and almost time for heat, which is fascinating to go from air conditioning to heat. Welcome, Charlie. Welcome, new member to the community, Casey, Mike, Lisa's here, Nolan. Welcome, Charlie. All right.
Good morning, everybody.
Who had a chance to look at the book summary for this week's book? Okay. All right, well, we're going to jump right in then. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to share that Dr. Helmstetter was one of my first teachers, and this is one of his first books. He's written 8, maybe 10 books since then, and they're all in the realm of psychology and self-talk, self-sabotage. And this first book was written in 1982. I think I read it sometime in the late 80s, and then took my first life coaching certification with his life coach school, which is still in existence today. It's an completely online academy now. And I'm going to start off with one of the quotes from the book. After examining the philosophies, theories, and the practice methods of influencing human behavior, I was shocked to learn the simplicity of one small fact. You will become what you think about most. Your success or failure in anything, large or small, will depend on your programming, what you accept from others, and what you say when you talk to yourself. It's no longer a success theory. It's a simple but powerful fact. Neither luck nor desire has the slightest thing to do with it. It makes no difference whether we believe it or not. The brain simply believes what you tell it the most, and what you tell it about you, it will create. It has no choice. So the big ideas from this book are: talk to yourself more powerfully, talk to yourself more kindly. And there's some other things that we'll unpack today. But let's start off first going around the room, who you are, what you do, and if you're brave enough, and I'll go first to encourage bravery, to share the most common thought you have about yourself. And I don't mean one that you're having right now when I say that. I mean the underlying theme that runs on autopilot all the time under everything you do. Hi, I'm Suzanne Taylor King, life and business coach for entrepreneurs. And my underlying theme, that running message, is I am alone. Who wants to go next?
I'm Nolan Chappelle. I'm a title rep and a small business owner. And my underlying thought is, I don't have a good enough perspective. I need to gain more perspective.
Thank you.
I'll go, Susan.
Go ahead.
Suzanne, I'll do it. My goal is to help my clients. So the underlying thought is, I need to learn more to be more effective and help my clients. I can never know enough. So I'm a junkie to learn new stuff that I think is relevant to the mission of my clients.
That resonates with me too. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Well, okay, so I'm Lisa Prozo. I have an alpaca farm and sell lots of things related to that, and it's multifaceted. But underlying theme, I can't say I have just one. I do the I am alone And it's a negative, I am alone, not just an observation, I am alone, meaning I don't know that if I'm capable of constantly standing up and to new challenges, because I'm worried my energy, and I've seen this happen, my energy just gets really low. And so my intensity, now, and I just sometimes I end up in a sitting down position a lot, both figuratively and literally from
Mm.
that.
Okay.
So, that's a long conversation. I'm not 100% consistent with what I always think underlying, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Casey?
Thank-
I'm Casey, and I own an accounting firm. And my underlying thought is I'm not enough. Like, I feel like I don't communicate enough with clients. I don't, I'm always behind on my task list. I just feel like I'm not enough.
Thanks for sharing. Mike?
I'm Mike O'Neill. I'm a leadership coach. And the theme that probably runs through my mind most is I know what I need to know. Why can't I effectively sell what I know?
So would the underlying thought be I'm bad at sales or I'm not worthy of sales?
The underlying thought is I know I have the chops to do it.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the not knowing, is it around how to move people to say yes?
Are you asking me that question?
Yes, Mike, I am.
I think the issue at its core is reps. When I'm in a conversation, I'm very comfortable in that sales conversation. It's starting that conversation that I have
Okay.
continued to wrestle with.
Okay.
Good.
So thank you everyone for the vulnerability piece there. I fully believe that by sharing that, not only does it make it less uncomfortable to have that recurring thought, but it's also by acknowledging it, that's how we can move past it, whether it's overeating, over drinking, underperforming, it doesn't matter. We have to have the self-awareness enough that we recognize it. Like, okay, that's a thing and I need to do something about it. And I would encourage you all to grab the book summary on this book. It goes into things like thoughts are things, which we all kind of know that, right? I remember studying, I can't remember who it was. It was a basic psychology course. And the teaching was you are what you think about all day long. So if I'm thinking I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone because my parents are deceased and I don't have any family, does that mean I don't have clients too? Does that mean I don't have friends? Does that constant I'm alone, does that make me isolate myself?
Hmm.
And the awareness of that brought to my attention, magnified during COVID. Oh my God, now you're really alone. This is it. This is it. Now you're really alone. I had to figure out how to stop thinking about that all day long. Why do you think I created a community? Years ago, starting something on Facebook that brought people together. Why do you think? Was it to make money? Was it to be of service? No, it was to be with other people. Because fighting against that, I'm alone, had to be my number one priority to shut that voice down, if that makes sense. Okay, so first step into changing this underlying thought, says Dr. Helmstetter, is to change your programming. That's your belief system. So does anybody have a belief system that they fully are aware they believe that is contributing to that thought?
What do you mean a belief system?
So it could be something along the lines of, in order to make money, you have to work hard.
Oh,
In order to help other people, you have to know everything. In order to be more visible in your business, you need a Birkin bag and a Paris photo shoot.
Hmm.
In order to make sales, you have to have already had millions of dollars of sales. What's that belief system that's holding you to that belief, or holding you to that repeating thought?
Wait, so just one, because I have a few.
Yeah, if you have a few, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like Mike that the traction to get into the sales, like we did sales for the accounting firm a couple years ago, and we haven't done sales calls really since then. And so to like get back in that groove
Mhm.
is really uncomfortable, because I'm not sure how to go from nice to meet you to buy my stuff without being salesy.
Yeah.
And that's very uncomfortable. So that's one that I have.
Mhm.
Because I guess I was under the feeling of, if I put out there really good stuff, people will flock to it. And obviously, that doesn't happen. It would be nice, but it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
And so that's, I guess, one belief circle that I have. We have lost a few clients over the course of the year. Some have gone out of business, some have left for other reasons, and a few left because they weren't happy. And so my belief was, or has been, that that's all personal. I take that all very personal. And so my belief is I need to change something in me to keep that from happening. And the truth is, if we go after bigger clients, we naturally push the smaller people away. And that's what's happening, but it's uncomfortable.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess those are the two big ones that I have at the moment.
So that one, as far as pushing those, as you go for bigger clients, your language changes in what you're selling, what you're offering, and even your social media content, right? So naturally you repel those people who you no longer want to serve. So could you say something to yourself on a daily basis that reminds you of that very thing?
You mean like an affirmation?
Could be an affirmation or just a statement. I have one here on my desk that it was covered up by something, but I'm gonna grab it. So this reminds me when I'm sitting at my desk. I'm standing right now, but I am dedicated to helping you get unstuck and be unstoppable in every area of your life and business. I help you be more fulfilled, connected, inspired, and passionate, have more courage, confidence, abundance, and prosperity. I have to do those things for myself in order to help you do them. And it's literally just a reminder of who I am at my core foundation. Before I was a mom, before I was a business owner, who was Suzanne, And I remind myself of that typically every time I sit down at my desk because it's right there, right in front of me.
May I?
So,
Oh,
Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay. This is a situation. I know anecdotal stuff sometimes isn't necessary if you, but sometimes it's useful for me to remember. I was at a show, the National Spring Show this past spring, and basically I didn't want to have anybody start trying to sell me any alpacas. I was there to present my alpacas and then also observe other people's and find out what their breeding styles are, blah, blah, more educational versus purchasing. A
Mhm.
woman in a small group that we were talking, she approached me and started asking me if I was interested in brown animals, if I was, was I familiar with her breeding program? And the conversation quickly led to, I'd like to show you some of my animals. Would you like to see my pens? And I'm like, well, all right. Because I quickly, and even exactly when she said that, I knew she was trying to sell me animals.
Mhm.
And I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the market for brown to begin with. And, but so I still let her show me her animals, which were beautifully put together. And it was a good thing for me. But what would have been helpful for me to even want to take her business card for possible later things would have, if she had just simply asked me the question, hey, I see you look like you're kind of networking. Are you in the mood to look at some animals I'm selling? And just let me put a boundary, give me the opportunity, put a boundary on. I know that sometimes how I have difficulties with that too, as far as when to start presenting my animals and my stuff from a sales perspective to total strangers.
Yeah.
Now, if they start talking about yarn and having somebody in the family who knits and blah, 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 those are the kinds of things that I'm listening for. And then I'll just put it out there that, well, I have some beautiful yarn and for sale from gorgeous fiber animals and that works most of the time, but I don't push at all. And I don't say, let's make an appointment, because I've tried that and I just get the sense that energy is kind of backing off. Does that make sense? I know
It
that's
does. It does. And I think a lot of, client attraction, we're all in different businesses here, but it doesn't hurt to ask someone, are you looking for a new accountant? Are you looking to purchase more animals for your farm? You're not going to treat them negatively if they say no.
right.
Of course, you'd still let somebody come see your animals, even if they didn't want to purchase. Right? We're animal people.
Absolutely.
I'd be all over coming to visit the animals, but I'm not buying one. I just want to play with them.
Then I would have to caveat and say, all right, but I have to charge a fee for an hour visit.
There you go.
Yeah, a tour. Yeah.
There you go.
And so that way the conversation becomes reality-based for both parties, and there is no tension. There is no like, oh, geez, I got to get away from her. She's not going to let up, kind of a thing. Yeah. And that's uncomfortable for people to feel the pressure of something that they know that they're not going to participate in, but then they think they have to let a person down lightly, the seller. And that's just, you won't ever see them again. Usually, if that's the memory they have of their emotion.
Right. And I think that's what Casey's concerned about. That's what Mike's concerned about, right? We don't want to have a relationship with somebody and then offend them by asking for a sale. So we don't ask at all. And then 3 months later, we find out they hired some other coach that, you're better than, or another accountant who doesn't have the services and experience that you do.
Mhm, mhm.
How many times has that happened to any of you in this room?
Goes with the territory.
I think it kind of does. I think. Um,
Because
So the-
in essence, they buy you.
yeah, they
And,
do.
and there's something about the other person. It may not be price. It may not even that they have a competitive advantage. They just felt more comfortable. Listen, when you're doing coaching, you know, you're moving into the area of vulnerability. With whom are you most comfortable opening up and sharing? You're asking us questions today where we have to be vulnerable. If we were not comfortable with you or other people in this community, we wouldn't be opening our mouths, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just that gut feeling that they have and they can't verbalize it to you. And we go crazy because we need something tangible to hang on to that we can fix so it doesn't happen again. Just, I've been doing that for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I just end up saying I'm me. And if they want me, then they're going to get me. If they don't want me, then there's somebody else that is better suited for them, then great.
Mhm.
And I've just learned to accept that. I can't win them all. There's a book called Crossing the Chasm, which basically says that if you're lucky, if 15% of the people out there get you, let alone buy from you, but you got to figure out who that 15% is. That's your
Mhm.
tribe. They get you, they like you. They say, wow, I like where that's coming from. We're coming to this meeting because we get Suzanne, right? We get her. And we know
Mhm.
that if we spend time with her, we're going to extract stuff that benefits us and we can also share with other people. That's what it's about. So try not to be all things to all people,
Right.
but understand who are the people that are going to resonate with you the most. I was at a function last night. A lot of my clients were there and one of them leaned over and he said, is there a typical profile of these people in this room? What do they all have in common? And I said, I'll get back to you on that. And I've been thinking about it, what their characteristics are of,
Mhm.
that of all my clients. And I'm going to use that in the future. He did me a big favor to force me to say it. So anyway, hopefully
Mm.
that was helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool. To think that, all right, I have 87 members in my community in the platform right now.
Mhm.
I have my group of coaches, which I'm up to about 30 some in rotation for coach conversations. And then the Facebook group, the email list, and then my actual clients. And what's the common theme in my clients? And that common theme, of course, is entrepreneurship, but I think it's more than that. And I like that perspective. Charlie, I'm gonna marinate on that too. That'll be fun. What's the
And-
common characteristics?
Yeah, what do you draw? Because we draw to us people like us. We draw people like us. They may not look like us, they may not talk like us, but there's some common threads there that we connect with. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
and we have to make sure they got a checkbook. That's what we really have to make sure they have, or we're wasting our time. And this suddenly becomes a hobby and not a business.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to, oh, I have to let my dog in. Excuse me one second. But I want to share this quote and then I want to encourage some conversation around this quote. And it's from T. Harv Eker. If you don't know T. Harv Eker, he is all things money manifestation. He has done a course for Mind Valley. He had a cassette tape course back in the day, you know, like the Tony Robbins courses that came in the big notebook of cassettes. Yes, I'm old enough. I have some of those. T. Harv had one of those. And he also has a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which we're going to talk about that one next week. And I'll share the notes on that book. But here's the quote. Your programming leads to your thoughts. So you were programmed before you were 10 years old, leads to your current thoughts, that underlying thought. Your thought lead to your feelings lead to your actions lead to your results. Therefore, just as it is done with a personal computer, by changing your programming, you take the first essential step to changing your results. And let me let my barking dog in. I'll be right back. Go ahead. The floor's open. discuss if you would like.
That would be a great formula for you to drop into the chat, wouldn't it? So we would have it.
I can do that.
Could-
Let me grab it.
Yeah, that would be really great. That way we have something to look at while we're.
Yeah.
While we're talking.
Thank you, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
He's so organized. My son got the dog.
I faked you out on that one.
You did. There you go, in the chat.
Okay.
So that's the quote. And that's his name if you want to look up T. Harv Eker. And the book, I think I have somewhere on my shelf. Haven't read that one in a long time, so that'll be a good one to go over. What resonates with you about that quote?
This kind of ties into what I was thinking about my belief system. For me, one of the things that I have a struggle with is that I need to do things perfectly or put my best foot forward before I start. Like if I'm not completely ready or completely knowledgeable or whatever, I have a hard time self-starting. So recently with my new job, there's a lot of opportunities where I'm just thrown in the deep end, where it's like, hey, it's a sales job and we have a great service, but at the end of the day, the service is the same across the board. It's industry regulated. It's not a whole lot of like wiggle room in price, and a lot of people share the same things. So it's really just being you. So by going out and just having to just, you know, like, I don't know what I don't know, and then just be personal and like, hey, I'm just gonna be myself, kind of like what Charlie said. I'm gonna be me, whether or not you like me. That's irregardless. I'm not gonna change every aspect of my life to try to gain every client. I'm just gonna be myself and be confident. So for me, that's like changing my programming and say I really have to just do the work and allow myself to not be so chained by perfectionism that I can actually allow my thoughts to be comfortable enough to go, hey, we're going to do this, whether or not we succeed, we're going to do it. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. It's better than nothing. Like 50% still better than 0%. So those are the type of things that it's like you're saying, it changes if you change your programming, you're going to change your output.
Oh, Charlie's famous for these. I love that. Good one, Charlie.
Got to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Nolan, I think you're right. Research says that people buy you, right?
Mhm.
And why you do what you do. They don't buy what you do or how you do it. So the question is, if you look like a commodity in their eyes, chances are they're going to go with price, or they're going to go with the safe decision. Nobody ever got fired for hiring IBM. So the question is, you have to be the difference maker. What is it about Nolan, having Nolan in their life, that will make a difference for the buyer and or that buyer's organization? That's what you got to figure out. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for us to figure that out because we can't see ourselves in the eyes of others often. So it's hard for us to figure out. We have to sort of guess at it. And, you know, usually when you ask people, tell me about myself, hey, please tell me, be honest with me. They're never honest with you, especially if you take them to dinner, because they're going to say, are you picking up the bill?
Mhm.
Because I have to be careful what I say. I don't want to pay anything tonight. So anyway, so again, that's what I've learned over a long time. I was always trying to be somebody other than who I was. I was trying to be Zig Ziglar. I was trying to be, you know, all these other great gurus of sales, you know, and right now I'm a recovering salesperson, you know, many years of trying to recover from it. But because again, it's about building relationships. They are the things that lead to long-term sustainable sales.
Yeah.
I agree with that, because I did car sales, and I didn't like that industry because they really make you a salesperson as opposed to just a person. And I rather, you know, make connections with people. I did much better in car sales. Like if someone just popped on the lot, hey, I'm not looking to buy today, I just want to see some stuff. I sold those people cars nonstop, because I didn't try to sell them cars. I just was like, let's go look, let's see, what do you need? What are you about? But if I got a lead and I had to call or text or whatever and be a salesperson and badger someone and get them to come into the store and then lead them to this specific, like I sucked at that. Like I really did. And I had to get out of that industry for that reason, because I'm not a salesperson, but because of who I am, it makes me good at sales. So I completely agree with you, Charlie.
Well, I think that's super interesting, because if we have the programming that sales is those words that you just use, and Casey used spammy, I use spammy all the time. And I don't want to chase people. I
Mhm.
don't want to, I use this phrase a lot in network marketing, posting constantly, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, till somebody goes, God, I gotta finally shut this girl up. Right. I don't want that. But what you're saying is that maybe some insights on sales being service, that
Mm.
sales doesn't have to be something that you do or that you say. It could just be seeing where you could help somebody. Hey, this is Nolan. Hey, this is Casey. This is what I do. This is who I work with. If you know anyone who needs X, Y, and Z, I don't
Yep.
know. Is that sales, or is that just connecting with other people?
It's definitely connecting, but that in the end, that's what makes great salespeople. Like the
Mhm.
people in the people in the industry who are very good at what they do. They're just amazing networkers and connectors, and they know
Yeah.
how to listen, and they know how to hear the issues and then find the solutions.
Yes, I love that. That's a perfect segue into what exactly is self-talk. A lot of people have a misconception about self-talk, and we've touched on it a little bit, but let's go into the levels of self-talk that Dr. Helmstetter teaches his life coaches to listen for. And when I was reading this note again, it reminded me, like, oh yeah, you do listen like that. So level 1 of self-talk is the level of negative acceptance. That's when you're having thoughts of, I can't, I could never do that, I'm tired, I just don't have the energy to do that, and such things like that. I can't, I could never, or I'm tired and I just don't have the energy to do that right now. That's level 1. Level 2 is when you recognize you need to change. And what you're going to notice here, anybody who's done any work on the levels of being ready to buy or the levels of being ready to change, this is very similar. So level 2 is the recognition that you need to change. And that's dominated by phrases like, I should, I need to, I really need to be doing blank. Level 3 of negative self-talk is the decision to change. Now that's when you're getting to the point of some of us right here in this room. I am no longer willing to. I no longer smoke. I'm no longer, or I'm never going to not offer my services again. So that's, you've decided you needed to change, but you're still not quite there yet. And level 4 of self-talk is when the better you starts to show up. That's statements like, I'm in control of this. I know how to say this. I am a winner. I'm healthy, athletic, enthusiastic. I'm a great salesperson. And those things start to actually happen. So that's level 4 of your self-talk. And that level 4 is what you can kind of force yourself to do on a daily basis, either with affirmations, a positive statement that's written on your desk. It primes you to start thinking like that the rest of the day. And it inspires you, encourages you, and does all of that good stuff. And once you do that enough, affirmations, positive statements. I don't care if you have to read it every day, doesn't matter. You get to level 5 of self-talk. And that's where you start to experience your self-talk actually coming true. And you could call it manifestation, you could call it law of attraction, you can call it whatever woo-woo thing you would like. But at the base level, it's when you have a healthy self-awareness with yourself and you're able to say, I got this. I know how to do that. And as soon as you start to slip into that negative spiral of I'm fat, old, ugly, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm alone, da 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 da, and that downward spiral is going to lead nowhere but on the sofa with a bag of chips and a Diet Coke. Just saying, just talking personal here. Lifting yourself out of that downward spiral before it even goes, that's a skill, and that takes practice, 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 practice. I know where I'm going. I'm heading down this path of not enough, of alone, of whatever. And where does that path usually lead? It leads to me not doing the things that I know get me the results and sitting on the sofa with Netflix and a bag of chips. Make sense?
Mhm.
So we're all shooting for that level 5 of self-talk, which requires what? Practice. We have to make it a habit. How do we make it a habit? Nolan knows this because he's heard me say it 100 times. Lisa knows this. How do you make it a habit?
You have to do it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
On autopilot, right?
Mhm.
How do we get
Build your
something?
algorithms?
Yes, yes, your algorithms. Love that. Thank you. I am rubbing off on you, aren't I? So in order to practice something and have it become a habit, have it become on autopilot, what's required?
Becomes a habit. It's automatic.
What's required?
Mhm. It becomes an unconscious habit.
Right. Unconscious competence.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So this whole model you came up with reminds me of the 4 steps for trainers. When
Mhm.
when people come into the room, they're unconsciously incompetent. They don't know what they don't know. By the time they take their first humanities break, they say, "Oh my God, I didn't know this stuff." So now they're consciously incompetent.
Mhm.
The training is about making them consciously competent. They could do it if they think about it, and they reach mastery when it's unconsciously competent. They just do it normally. And that's what we all hope to be. And in many parts of our lives, we're already a master of that part of our life,
Yeah.
right? But in our vocational areas where we know we need to get better, that takes lots and lots of work and help. We need people to be there to hold us accountable and hit us up on the side of the head when we're not doing it right. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Suzanne, as you work through this, if you're at level 5, what kind of crossed my mind is, you know, it really is working when what slips back into your mind are the old thought patterns,
Mhm.
and you're able to cut them off
Yeah.
and
great
sidestep running back through it.
Great point.
Yeah. That's how you know that whatever work you're doing on yourself is actually working. And I've said this, I don't know how many times. I was doing a course on emotional intelligence, which is really self-awareness, right? Aware of how your emotions create your reactions and your actions, right? And about 2 weeks into the training, it was deeper than I had ever gone on that topic before. And I thought I was taking this 6-week course for my clients. And about 2 weeks in, I had like a existential moment where my brain was empty of any self-talk. There was no, I can't explain it, but it was a moment where I said, oh my God, did I just sit here for 10 minutes and not think anything? Did I
Hmm.
really not have any reactions, any judgments, any nothing? And I sat there and I thought, finally, I have the space to create something bigger, something more expansive. I have room in here without all that judgment.
Right.
Okay. Now the book, if you choose to get this book, I do recommend it, even though it's old. If you're looking to introduce some affirmations and positive talk into your life, there is numerous chapters just on the words to say for different scenarios. The notes don't go into any of that, but where I want to leave you with some homework today, because I love homework. I love tangible things you can go home and do from these conversations. And this one's called shower talk. Now,
Whoa.
I know.
Great.
I know. I'm not going to demonstrate this one.
That's good.
So Dr. Helmstetter talks about shower talk, and it works like this. Tomorrow morning, when you step into the shower, now I'm lucky I have a mirror in my shower, a tiny little mirror that my husband shaves with. And if I stand on my tippy toes, I can see myself in it. So go into the shower, say good morning to yourself, and say it out loud with a smile on your face. Greet your day with your chin up and your shoulders back and your attitude as high as you can. Tell yourself how great the day ahead is going to be. You look awesome today. Ooh, feeling trimmer. Oh, looking good. You're ready to tackle anything. And then respond to yourself and give yourself an answer back. Wow, you look terrific. You're going to be awesome today. I especially feel really good about you today. So talk about it in the first person, like, good morning. I'm feeling great today. And then say it back to yourself like you're talking to somebody else. And after 2 or 3 minutes, because I don't know, my son takes 20-minute showers, but he's 13. I take like a 5-minute shower in the morning. And if I spend that whole 5 minutes talking to myself like that, it really works at setting those days apart. Does that sound like a homework assignment that everybody can do tomorrow morning? Or tonight?
Do we have to record it for you?
No,
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
no, but bonus points if there's somebody else in the shower with you to talk to.
Hey,
Well,
Yeah,
Suzanne, you
no
Lisa.
bonus points for me.
Go ahead, Lisa.
we
So
have to remember
I'm-
we meet on Friday afternoon, so we get a little goofy.
Okay.
Okay, so I've had a lot of thoughts. I've been listening, but they say a good listener doesn't think while they're listening. They don't kind of answer and ask questions in their head and have a conversation in their head while they're listening to somebody else. But I was having a conversation in my head, but now I've forgotten the beginning of it because it happened several minutes ago.
That's
But
okay.
I've said to my patients, I've said, you can look back, but just for an instant at what you saw, what you've lived that you believe helped create who you are, because that's valid, it's real. But you have to look forward at some point to go to where you want to be. And I think that many of us, and myself anyway, I have ins and outs of where I've been very positive and accomplished quite a bit. modeling on my first house kind of thing. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I said, okay, just do it. I gutted the whole house downstairs except for the electricity and plumbing. And my friend of mine, and I don't remember doing this, she came over, it was in July. I remember it was very hot when I did it. And she said, oh my God, Lisa, what did you do? And she said, I burst into tears and said, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know anybody to put it back together again. And I don't know how to do it. She said, she told me, I just sobbed and sobbed. I don't remember that, but she's not a fabricator. So, but I survived that. And I did find somebody, and the house was much improved and it became mine.
Mhm.
I know I can do that. But then years went by after that before I was presented with something else. Well, I suppose not, but I can't remember those things that presented. And then I got a job where I stayed in too long with people who were sick themselves as coworkers. And I read something that somewhere says something like, don't spend too much time with people who don't appreciate you.
Mm.
You know, get out, don't have that in your life. And I spent too much time with them because I started experiencing my history with my family because of how they were sick and are still. I call it sick because that's what I think of it as. They should be paying somebody by the hour to talk to. But when I grew up, I never knew where good and I only would go to good enough, because if I didn't meet good enough, then I would be slammed down verbally. And so then at some point I never quite knew what I was any good at. I only knew what I didn't do good at. And so that was like, went up through my high school years, even though I had friends and I had good moments in high school. If I were to look back on it in those ages, I really would have hard time finding something positive in relationships or anything. I just would notice how I tried to escape the home thing, which was finding the horse farm down the street and spending as much time as I possibly could there, because that was my
Well, so
my place.
no,
But then I had to move away to get
perspective
adult.
on that. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think all of us have had, I think every human has
Yeah.
had those negative experiences, in our life growing up. This is programming. This is, you could live by that programming if you choose to. I don't know how to be in relationships because I've been divorced. I don't know how to have a business because I lost a business, that was very successful in my divorce. Like I could go to that place, or losing that business in my divorce was the greatest learning experience of being a business owner, right?
Mhm.
It's
Right.
two choices you have in that perspective with everything that happens in your life. So the perfect activity to kind of gain some perspective on that, and I give this to almost every client at some point, is to imagine you have a time machine and you're going to jump forward to 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and talk to the 110-year-old version of yourself. And what do you want to share? What do you want to share as that 110-year-old version of yourself to that younger version of yourself? And Lisa, that could be something really helpful for you based on everything you just said, all those negative experiences, getting a different perspective on them from, it being farther in the future.
Mhm. Well, that was part of the PQ program too.
Yeah.
And when we came to that, I didn't participate. I didn't know how to I couldn't do it.
Do you think you could do it now?
I don't know. It was only a few weeks ago. I don't know if too much has changed since then. I could try, but not really knowing where to start. And really, I would at first I was like, this is so stupid. I've been 100 years old from now. I don't have any of that knowledge. I don't know. How can you do something like that? And that's why I just didn't. And I think at that point, it would have been nice to have had a community like this who had gone through that same up to that point to say, well, this is how I had similar thoughts, but this is how I managed that concept. And somebody else would say maybe, oh, I just slid right into it. It worked so beautifully. And this is how I did that, you know, and I just.
Yeah, I could say that I could slide into that 110-year-old version of myself and share with the younger version of myself the successful community that I built of 10,000 entrepreneurs all collaborating and connecting and sharing each other's wisdom. I could say that, you know, my son is doing his dream career and has 5 children of his own, and he's learned that he didn't have to go to college, that he could be an entrepreneur and follow his dream. I don't know, I could go 100 different places with that, but that's allowing yourself to imagine that brighter future, not based on your programming from the past.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to share one last thing in the chat. And this is really profound. At least it was for me when I started this whole journey. And I'm giving you a little look into when I first started my personal development journey. This is where everybody told me to start, was with self-talk, whether it was Louise Hay affirmations or whether it was, you know, Dr. Helmstedter's self-talk. There was numerous others, but this statement really kind of hit home to me that this is the single most important thing you can do for yourself as a person in relationship with other people. And we all are that. We all are in relationship in some way with other people. And if you can talk to yourself in this up-leveled way, not only does it bring added self-confidence or added way that you treat other people. So if I'm not nice to myself, how am I going to treat Lisa? If I'm not nice to myself, how am I going to, you know, treat Charlie and the people that he refers to meet me, right? It's got to be, it has to start here before it can go out. And, you know, that doesn't sound very business coachy of me, but it's really true. I don't know what else to say about it, except I tried not to have it be true, that it didn't start here and, oh, I can just sell my stuff. No, I had to do that here first. So if you want to copy that little statement, or if you want to just save the chat, click on that. Now you all are members in the Idea Lab community. I'll wrap up today with any final thoughts from you guys and an invitation to introduce me to your favorite other entrepreneur who I don't know. Invite them to the Idea Lab, somebody you want to collaborate with, somebody who is like-minded, who wants to be part of this community. It's almost time to open it to the public. We're almost at 100 people, and I'm going to take on 25 experts in the community. Those experts will be industry exclusive, have a little stamp of expert, and there's a whole bunch of benefits that come with that. So if you're interested in doing that with me, co-creating what that looks like, I'll be having a call sometime in October for anybody interested in that.
Great.
All right. Anything? Any
Suzanne,
final? Yeah.
is this all working out the way you had envisioned?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, it's helped me see where I truly love to be, the space I love to be in. And it's helped me see my value ladder, which is kind of businessy, but it's helped me see how to attract people in a different way. And then obviously, you know, if I attract 100 and 10 are part of this, and 5 are part of this, 1's going to be a client, but I've served all of those people.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on today's topic? Insights, awarenesses that you had?
Time flew by, so it must have been good.
I think so. It's one of my favorite topics, as you can tell.
Mhm.
Nolan, any thoughts? Mike?
I have a lot of thoughts, and they have to be. They're going to be positive.
And they're all good. Yay.
So it's
Great.
I think just being in a more of a good habit of actually doing the positive self-talk. I've definitely seen improvement in my life since we've started working together, Suzanne, and I'm pretty sure you've seen the growth too. So it definitely works. Just be positive.
I love it. I love it. And I want to just say, I don't know if you noticed this, Nolan, but we've met in person numerous times. And the first couple times, you know, a year and a half ago when we met in person, it was like nobody really noticed you. Like, I won't say they didn't notice you, but flash forward to recently,
Mhm.
the last 2 times we've been at Starbucks, you walk in and everybody turns around. I don't know whether you notice that or not, but just that shift in personal energy.
Hmm. I didn't notice it at Starbucks, but I am noticing it more in my life.
Mhm.
Especially like when people in your past want to come and re-gravitate towards you because they see that you're thriving and they want a piece of it.
Mhm.
And just with my networking now, it's like I just feel more confident in myself. I don't have a lot of negative energy surrounding me because
Yeah.
I don't want it to be there. I do my best to when a thought comes in that's intrusive, I package it up and say, nope, that's not for me today. We're not about that. And just that positivity really has changed so much in my life. I feel like I'm in a really good spot. And I learned what my gifts are and what my strengths are, and I'm in a position where I can just be myself, and I'm being rewarded for that.
Right.
Well, I want to say that if you're willing to share, on Wednesday we went to a networking lunch. I invited you to. You got there a little bit later, which we knew was going to happen. How did it feel to walk in to a group of, what was there, 6 or 7 men there for lunch? How did it feel to walk in? I mean, you knew me, you knew Chris, but
Yeah.
how did it
I
feel?
I felt very comfortable. It actually it was a little bit unsettling how comfortable I felt, to be honest, because I'm sitting at a table where I'm clearly the youngest person at the table, and there's a lot of great wisdom and knowledge being shared, and I didn't feel less than. It was like I was just sat down. I was like, "Yep,
Love
here
it.
I am.
Well,
Here I am. Here's what I do."
I wanted that you to remember that, because I could tell
Mhm.
you felt like that when you walked in, and it was awesome. So
Mhm.
good job.
Well, I will say this. And last night I met some people, and of course, having a life coach comes up. And the guy's like, "How old are you?" I think you're in your 20s. Like what? Why does someone your age have a life coach? And I said, why wouldn't I? And he's like, that's not what I asked. He's like, and I was like, why? Shouldn't everyone? And he goes, think about all the people you went to high school with. How many percentage of them have a life coach? Like, ask them. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. Well, I
Yeah.
went to
Ask that-
small school, so I know
Ask
it's
that
true.
question. Ask that question in 10 years of you. And you'll be looking in your rearview mirror at them.
Yeah.
I honestly believe it's like if there's knowledge to be shared or knowledge to be gained, I'm going to utilize that. We don't have to. We've been on this. Our species has been on this planet for far too long to carve your own path again, a new day. Like there are some things that you can trailblaze, but ultimately there's nothing new under the sun. And when people have, lived the life that you envision and have the tools that you need to sharpen, it's like, do it. Like make it easier for yourself.
Yeah. Nice. Proud of you, Nolan. Good job on Wednesday. Mike,
you.
any final thoughts for us today?
I appreciate y'all letting me join y'all, and I appreciate the candor.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for setting out the time. This is what we do every Friday at 12. You can join us anytime, one Friday a month, all Fridays a month. This is an open call for all members of the Idea Lab community. And thanks for joining me today. Appreciate each and every one of you. Have an awesome Friday.
Hey, Mike,